What's up, guys? This is Matthew from HFR. Today I'm going to be talking about playoff teams' grades. Now, let me explain how the grades are going to work. The teams that are going to be in F are in the first overall sweepstakes, or the Lafleur sweepstakes, who I think is going to be the favorites to win the coveted. Some people are saying he might even be a generational talent. Well, that soon to be seen. And then for the D grade are pretty much non-playoff teams. Now, I'm not saying, because there is one team I have as a D that's actually a really good team. They're really good. It just sucks that the division they were in. If you would take them and put them in any other division, they would be a C. Like, that's how crazy this grade is going to be. So if I put a team on this list and you're like, wait a minute, they don't deserve to be a team, they deserve to be a B team, a C team. Yeah, that's not gonna, there's still D. There is some D grade teams that are playoff team that could be potentially playoff teams. Next up is the C teams. Now, the C teams are pretty much bubble teams where I'm just like, I don't know, man. Like, they could make the playoffs, they could not make the playoffs. It's just one of those, like, I don't know. It's so tough. It's so tough to pick which of these teams will make the playoffs. Now, mind you, there are some teams in here where you're like, wow, this is a playoff team. And there's one team in particular, but I just felt like I had to put them in C because, when I looked at their division, I looked at the top two teams. All right, who's the top two teams in my opinion? I picked them, and that third spot has to be a C team because when I look at in particular, the Central Division, I think it's going to be 5 teams. No question. It will be 5 teams. There's no question in my mind there will be 5 teams from the Central. Then you have the B teams. These are playoff teams. These are teams where no doubt they are going to make the playoffs. And for the A teams, these are they're in the running for the Stanley Cup. There's no question. They are Stanley Cup contenders. Without question, they're going to be top 10s in the league and everything. Okay? So that's the grading for my playoff teams. So let me start off with the grade F teams. For my first team I'm going to talk about is let me just say who the 5 teams are. The first team is the Ottawa Senators, the Los Angeles Kings, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Minnesota Wild, and the Detroit Red Wings. Now, first I'm going to talk about the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa, you guys were going to be here. You knew you were going to be in the grade F column. Besides Brady Tkachuk, you have some good prospects. Now, the guy you got from Vegas, I can't pronounce his name, but I know his name is Eric. He's a great player. And then also Thomas Chabot, who is an unreal player. So you guys have some good pieces in place. But you have to keep rebuilding your team. You guys have a ton of work to do. I do not expect them to be out of the F team for at least 3 more seasons. At least. They're going to be in the F column for 3 more years. If they can get lucky, get Lafleur, and maybe draft, or hell, maybe, even if they don't win the top pick, you look after Lafleur, there are 3 excellent centers who are unbelievable. And if they can get one of those guys, you have your future number 1 center. So I think Ottawa, this is the best time to have your number 1 pick. If you can win the draft lottery, get Lafleur, you build your team around that kid, and on top of it, his family is from Quebec, and you guys are not far from Quebec, so you'll get a lot of excitement from Quebec fans, where they're going to be Ottawa Senators fans. So hopefully you guys win it. You know, I would love to see you guys win the draft lottery. I mean, for God's sakes, you guys been just, with your owner and everything, it's just been an absolute wreck. For the next team I'm going to talk about is the Los Angeles Kings. Los Angeles had a great draft this year. But you guys are just not, you're not young enough. You know, you have too many old pieces on the team. It's just, I just don't know where the LA Kings are going from here. Personally, I hope they trade Jonathan Quick. You know, I'm a Connecticut boy, so I do love Jonathan Quick. I love every player that came from Connecticut. Hell, even Kevin Shattenkirk or Nick Bonino and players like that. You know, I just love the players that are in the NHL are from Connecticut. You know, I have much respect for those guys. You know, I wish I could have been one of those guys. But hey, it happens. So for the Los Angeles Kings, I mean, yeah, you guys have some good prospects. You have some great prospects, but I think you need another year, you know, and hopefully they can start, you know, clearing their cap space, clearing all these players that they don't need, and start building through younger players. I just think that's what the Los Angeles Kings need to do. They need to start retooling this team and trying to figure out how to rebuild this team from the ground up. And I think that's what they need. They need to have another horrible year. They need to have another strong draft. And hopefully it works out for them. You know, I think they've done an incredible job on drafting some really good prospects. Let's see what they do for the following season. Personally, I hope they don't bring up Alex Turcotte. I hope they keep him in the minors, be horrible for another year, try to see if you can win the draft lottery and get Lafleur, you know, and you build your team around that guy. Next up I'm going to talk about is the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, Columbus, I know some Columbus fans like, oh, you're just saying that because you're a Habs fan and you just hate the fact that you missed the playoffs. Listen, you guys deserve to be in the playoffs. You swept the President Trophy winning team. You deserve to be in the playoffs. But man, oh man, you guys really, really lost a lot of good players. You know, I don't know where Columbus is going. You know, you look at your prospect pool. You guys do not have a good prospect pool. I mean, last I checked, when I was looking at some prospect pools, I mean, for God's sakes, the best grade you had was a C. A C. Like, you guys have a horrible prospect pool, and you're expecting to find, you know, Panarin. You're expecting to replace Panarin, or, I mean, even though you only have for him for 20 games, you're expecting to find a Matt Duchene or Dzingel or hell, Sergei Bobrovsky. Like, you know, you look at the guy that was your backup for Bobrovsky, Korpisalo. He didn't really have that greatest of numbers. So I don't know where this team is heading. You know, and I think the best thing for the Columbus Blue Jackets, they need to be horrible this year. You know, and try to see if you go in the draft lottery. Can you imagine Pierre-Luc Dubois with Lafleur, two French-Canadian stars, and then you got Zach Marinsky and Seth Jones on the back end. So yeah, I think Columbus they need to start thinking about maybe doing a retooling. Next up is the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota, what are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? You sign a 30-year-old, what is he, 31? He might be 31. You signed Matt Zuccarello? Really? You guys are one of the oldest teams in the league, and you signed Zuccarello. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I really don't get what you're doing. There just isn't much for me to say about this team. I don't know where they're going. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you guys have some good players, but man, you are in the worst division. You're in, well, not the worst, the scariest division in the National Hockey League. You are going to be dead last. You're going to be in 7th place. You're going to be facing, I don't know how many times you're going to be facing central teams. It might be, I don't know, I think it's 4 games. So you're going to have at least 25 to 30 games against central teams. I believe you guys are going to get spanked by these teams. They're just too freaking strong. I have no idea where Minnesota is going. I don't know. Like, the way I feel about this team is the way how I felt like a Habs fan 2 seasons ago. That's how I feel about. That's how I feel about this team. Seriously, this is how I feel about the Minnesota Wild. I don't know where they're going. I don't know what they're doing. So yeah, that's my opinion. You guys are going to get a grade F. Next up is the Detroit Red Wings. Detroit, you knew you were going to be on this list. You knew you were going to be this low. I still think you guys still need a lot. You still need a lot of help. Thankfully, you got Steve Yzerman. He is going to be an unbelievable player. Oh, not player, general manager for you guys. He is going to know how to build this team, and I'm really happy for the Detroit Red Wings. I expect them to be on the bottom yet again. I still think you guys need a couple more years. Now, hopefully, you can win one of the top 3 prospects, and who knows? If you don't get Lafleur, I mean, hopefully you'll get one of those big time centers that everyone's raving about, and then you could start building whoever you draft if you get to the top 3, if you draft one of those centers, and then you gotta have Larkin, you'll have your 1-2 punch down the middle. So, and that's my opinion. I think you need to continue to trade some of your players. Try to get some first or second round draft picks. Continue to develop your team. Thankfully, you have the Detroit. You have Steve Yzerman, who is an unbelievable general manager, and I'm really excited for this team. If you're a Red Wings fan, you're optimistic. You're happy. Like, all right, we got Yzerman. We're good now. We're excited for this team. And that's what I think is going to happen with the Detroit Red Wings. So that is my grade F. Next up is going to be my grade team, which is going to be non-playoff teams.